What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your guy, Something. Hit the keys. Here today with the second episode of plugins I've slept on. And today we got a biggie. The plugin we're going to talk about today is Arcade 2.0 by Output. When I say I slept on this plugin, I slept on this plugin. Make sure if you guys like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. But let's go ahead and get right into this review. Some, hit the key. All right, guys. So I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've had Arcade before. So I had the 30-day free trial, and then I had it for like 3 months after the 30-day free trial. So I had it for like 4 months altogether, and I only used the plugin probably about 6 times total. No cap. I definitely have remorse on that because this plugin is absolutely fire. When you open up this plugin, it's going to look like this. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to do the full overview and review and demo like I typically do because I just want to kind of focus on the things that I like about Arcade 2.0 and what's kind of changed my mind on this plugin. So when you're looking at it, it's going to look like this. It's got a ginormous GUI, but you can come down here to settings, and then right here, it'll be window size. If you hit medium, you can shrink it. You can shrink it even more with small, but obviously we don't want it that small. And then you're going to come back over here to feed, and then boom, it'll bring you back to this main screen. So what's new about Arcade 2.0 is now that they have note kits, and that is a game changer because before it was just basically a sample based plugin where everything was samples laid out to a key. Well, now they actually have notes on the keys, and they have a bunch of fire instruments as well. So I know most of you guys out there have probably seen Arcade before. You guys know what Arcade is, but there's a lot of people who probably don't. So I just want to make sure I touch bases on all that for them as well so that they understand what the plugin is. So when you're looking at it, if you come down the lines, you'll see that there's a bunch of different pictures here, and these pictures are different kinds of packs. So when you're looking at it like Hooked, you know, it's Vox, Drip is hip hop beats, Distant Voices is more vocals, so on and so forth. And you have just different kind of genres and different kind of stuff, which makes for, you know, some fire beats. So when you're looking at it, you'll see 2 numbers, and one number is basically your samples and the other number is the note kit. So that's how many different instruments are in that actual pack. Now you can search and it breaks it down. So it's not just one pack, it's different packs. And then you can sample the sound by listening to it. So, and you can decide if you want to download that kit or not. So you don't have to download everything. You can only download what you need. So I made a little sample beat, you know, as always, using Arcade. So I used Arcade for the 808, for the melody, for the counter melody, and then for like a little vocal vox I put in there, and then I just grabbed some drums. Of course, it's not all the way mixed down. Y'all already know the vibes, but let's go ahead and check this out. Yo, so I'm not even gonna lie, that beat gave me like Superman vibes or something like, you know what I'm saying, some old school DC comic book superhero vibes. So let's go ahead and open up the plugin again. And so as we look at Arcade, what's also nice about Arcade that I forgot to mention is that you can download your own samples in the arcade. And so then you can chop them up and use all the effects and everything that's in arcade as well. So let's go ahead and let's look at some of the new stuff first, and then we'll go back into some of the old stuff. So with the new stuff, they got all these note kits, and you can find the note kits that you want. So you can listen to certain stuff, see what it, and again, they got all kinds of note kits. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a note kit that I already have. All right, so here's a note kit that I already have. It's called Weary Piano, and the piano basically sounds like this. And so what's nice about arcade is that it's got all these effects in here as well that can affect the way that the piano sounds. So now let's listen to that same exact piano, and see how it sounds. So again, that piano sounds super fire. And then it has different stuff that you can mess with in the background, like macros and all that other stuff. You can mess with different layers, your waveform, your modulation, your amp, your envelopes, all that good stuff. We're not going to do all that in this demonstration, but I just wanted to show you that that's there as well. And so once you downloaded a bunch of libraries, you can start scrolling through different stuff. So I want you to notice now the difference between your note kits. You see down here, you have at the bottom, you have notes. So when I push a button, you saw that blue light up right there. Or if I push 3 notes and make a chord. Now, if I go to a different kit, because these are different kits that I have saved, you notice how there's no keys down here. So the difference between the two is one is samples and one is going to be note kits. So with the samples, it's going to have a bunch of different samples loaded into your keyboard. All right, so now above that, it has different things that it does. So like you'll see here, it's got the instructions above it. So it's telling you that basically these are like reverses. These are different modulations. It just does different stuff. So like if I push down a button, so you see how it's giving it a different effect. It just doesn't sound like this. So now if I hit reverse on it, and then it'll just have different kind of samples all laid out throughout these keys. So you know what I'm saying? And then you can play more than one sample together, and a lot of times they will sound good together. And so down here, this is where you play different octaves and different semitones. So like, let's say I push this key again. And then you can push, the lower semitone, this, and then you can hit reverse 2 at the same time. And, you can hit a bunch of buttons and do a bunch of different stuff at the same time. And it completely switches up the sound of that sample, which is absolutely fire. So let's go ahead and let's hop back over here into the feed. And another thing that I like is, so if we go over here into, let's go ahead and go into lines. So one of the lines that I really like a lot, really like a lot, is the crate. That's where I pulled the sample that I used for the beat that I made. So let's say we pop here into the crate. It's got a whole bunch of different old school samples that are all royalty free. So, so we all know that piano sample. So that's dope. So let's find something that's fire. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and download this one right here. So boom, we'll just go ahead and hit download real quick. And as you can see, just like that, it's ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and push play kit. And then once you push the play kit, it's gonna load that up for me. So now that whole sample is chopped up on the keys for me. You know what I'm saying? So you can chop that up and make a super fire beat and use that as the base for your beat. Something else that I forgot to mention is that Arcade automatically finds the beat for you or finds the key for you, so you don't got to do it yourself. You know, I already knew I had to say that. But basically, you know, you can find the key of, or make the key of whatever it is that you want it to be, and then you can lock it in, and then you can lock the key into every other instrument or sound that you layer in with this. And then basically it just makes the job so much easier, especially when you're doing sampling. So that's super fire, you know what I'm saying? And then again, all of the different stuff is going to have effects up here for you to use. So there's going to be different effects for every single sample or every single you know, one shot that you choose to use. So I mean that's super nice. You can do so much in this plugin, from sampling to actually playing chords, actually playing melodies, bringing in your own samples. So let's go ahead and drop our own sample in here. So let's go ahead and go back to the feed for a second. I'm gonna grab a sample out of my sample pack. Just came out a couple weeks ago. If y'all are interested, you might as well check it out. It's only $10 and it does have 40 melodic loops and it has 20 drum loops in there. So I'll leave that link below in the description for you guys. But we'll just go ahead and we'll just grab this first one. All right, so boom, let's go ahead and generate a kit for that. So you see how it's right here. So all you have to do is generate a kit. And what's cool is it's going to give you a ton of different effects. So it's going to give you, you know, different stuff, textures, haze. You see how it gives you a ton of different effects. Or you can push this button right here and it turns all the effects off, turn it back on, and it turns them all back on. I'm going to lower this because it all is BPM synced. So like if I push this button, so sorry, I got caught up there, but we'll just turn that back down to 80 because that's what the sample is. So now, like, let's say I start pushing some of these keys in. that's dope. I mean, if we turn the effects off, it'll sound like the normal sample, except for chopped up still. So it'll sound like. So that's super nice. Then it's got a ton of different effects. So all these effects are on right now, but we can mess with them. You can also mess with the way that the sample is chopped, whether it's stretched, shifted, or chopped, or however it is. The same thing applies down here. Like, let's say I wanted to push a button down here and change the pitch. So that's super fire. But then you got a bunch of different effects from warp to gated, speaker. So, you know, lift, you can mess with sand and grit, so you can give it more fuzz, put a filter on there. So you can hear that distortion. So, I mean, you can just do so much with this. Like, sampling in this is a whole new level of sampling. You turn that delay up, that reverb up. So again, there's just so much to mess with. I mean, like, I can't even lie. I'm so mad at myself for not messing with this plugin more when I had it. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all now, 100% I'm about to mess with this all the time, because it's like, some people say arcade is cheating, or like it's making things simple, but all it basically is using samples. And so it's like, anybody who would say that, you know, arcade is cheating or something like that, it's like, hip hop started from sampling. So you can't call anything that has anything to do with samples cheating, because that's what started this art. That's what started everything. There'd be no trap music. There'd be no hyper pop. There'd be none of these other subgenres without sampling in hip hop. So I feel like this is just a great tool to use. There is a 30-day free trial. In case you didn't know, I would definitely recommend clicking the link below and getting over there and at least trying that 30-day trial. It is $10 a month. So here's another thing that I'll speak on. I'm big against subscriptions, but I'm good with subscriptions if they add new stuff and they keep updating. So there's like some plugin companies that will want to charge you every single year, or want to charge you to have a plugin that they don't add any new features to. But this plugin is adding new libraries every single week, multiple libraries a month. They're always adding new sounds. As you guys can see, there's a bunch of new sounds. So this isn't necessarily a plugin that you can buy one time and then expect for them to give you new sounds every single week for the rest of your life, because, you know, come on, man, you know, we got to be real with ourselves. But if you ever were to get a subscription-based plugin, I would definitely say that Arcade is the one. I can't stress enough, I slept on this one, so I had to come back and do this review on it, because I've been using this a lot lately and I definitely rock with it. So make sure, if you guys like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell, so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. Appreciate you guys' time as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. All right, guys and gals, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Make sure you hit that notification bell, so every time a new video comes out, you can be the first to know. Let me know what tutorials you want to see next in the comments, and see you next time.
Something, 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 hit the key.